everybody. Welcome back to Jackie's Kitchen. I just want to start off by saying I'm super teed. I got my first 100 subscribers yesterday, and I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but I'm super excited, and I wanted to say thank you to everybody who has supported my channel. So today I'm going to make some chicken bacon ranch pasta. I guess you could call it like a casserole, but it's kind of just chicken bacon ranch pasta. So what I'm going to use to make this is I'm going to use a pound of penne pasta. So I'm going to use a pound of that. I got 2 jars of classic Alfredo sauce just in case. These are 16-ounce jars, and I'm going to use a packet of ranch seasoning, and I'm going to use a little salt and pepper just to season my chicken breast. I'm going to use a 1-pound pack of mozzarella shredded cheese. I cheated. I got this fully cooked, thick cut bacon. You can probably just fry your own if you'd like, but I'm trying to do this kind of quickly because I'm having a friend come over for dinner tonight, so I'm a little bit excited. And then also, just like to say that anybody who does not have time to, or wants to make it quick for like after work or something to that effect, then you don't have to make like fresh chicken or like anything like that. You can use these cans of chicken, and this is just chicken breast in water, and you can drain the juice from it. And if I was you, I would throw it in a skillet, like shred it up, chop it up a little bit, maybe even put some salt and pepper on it and season it and kind of cook it just a little bit, even though it's already cooked. So that it's kind of seasoned a little bit before you add it into your recipe. So if you don't want to do that and you want to do fresh chicken, you can. So it's basically just up to you, whatever you want. Just like you could fry your own bacon, or even probably buy bacon pieces or bits or whatever it is that you prefer if you want to do this a lot faster. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to move all this stuff out of the way, and I'm going to season up my chicken breast and get ready to throw them in the skillet with a little bit of olive oil. Also, this is probably the perfect time because this doesn't take a whole long time to do the chicken because it's thin cut and it's breast. It's going to cook really fast. So I'm going to go ahead and preset my oven to 350 right now. As I mentioned, I'm just going to use some olive oil, and you don't need a whole lot. You just kind of want it, because you don't really want to like fry the chicken. You more like less want to saute it, get it hot enough and cooked so that you can shred it. So I just put enough to cover the bottom of the skillet. And then I'm going to turn my skillet on medium high, and I'm just going to kind of, work around so there's not any real dry spots, and I'm going to let that heat up. Once you have started preheating your oven at 350, the next thing I would do is take some kind of like sauce, not a saucepan, but whatever you normally use to make your pasta in, and I'd go ahead and fill it up and get ready to start also boiling water. Turn this one on mostly high and just add a little salt to my water. I'm using this coarse salt. This chicken breast that I'm getting ready to season also is fairly thin. I got the thin slice so that it would cook quickly, and I'm just going to put a little salt on it, and this is the coarse stuff, but I don't really, I washed it, patted it dry. I just wanted to get some seasoning on there, so a little salt, a little pepper. You don't want a whole lot of seasoning because you don't want to drown out the flavor of what you're going to do in a minute when you mix up your casserole. I think it's going to be like a casserole. Anything you throw in a pan and pop in the oven can basically be almost classified like a casserole. So I just, call it a casserole. So anyway, I flipped it over, and I'm going to put a little salt and pepper on the back side, and then I'm going to throw it in the skillet with this hot olive oil until it's finished sauteing. Now I did start the water on boil, and so once I start the chicken and start cooking it, there's not a whole lot more that I can do until the chicken's done and the water boils. So I'll be back in just a few minutes, guys and gals. So my olive oil's hot, and I'm going to place these chicken breasts just sort of in there. and start these on saute. Like I said, they're very thin. I'll probably leave them on each side. So roughly, I'll leave them on each side for roughly maybe 3 to 5 minutes, flip, 3 to 5 minutes out and back onto the cutting board. So if you have your skillet set at medium-high heat, you probably can go ahead and flip these at about 3 minutes because they are cooking fairly quick, and then the olive oil obviously you don't want to burn. So I flipped them and the seasoning stayed on all nicely and everything. So these chicken breasts should be done in the next few minutes, and I'm going to pull them out, and we're still waiting on the water to boil. What's really going on? Let's go. Doesn't that sound great? This is one of the chicken. So the chicken breasts have been going for about maybe 7 to 8 minutes. They're nice and brown. We don't want to overcook them. We want them to be juicy. They are going to go in the oven inside of the casserole. So look at that. Yum. All right, I'm going to just let these sit here on the cutting board. And finally, my water's boiling. Ta-da! So I'm going to put my penne pasta in the water. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I try to use as much of the store brand items as I can when I make stuff so that this kind of stuff is affordable for every single person. So again, I have everything. I think everything is great value all the way down to pre-cooked bacon. The only thing that's not is the thin sliced chicken breast, but if I wasn't using those, I would more than likely be using Great Value brand canned chicken. So I'm going to dump my pasta in here and let this come to a boil. So now I'd like to just say too that I mentioned before that I watch Grilling and Smoking with AB, and I watched this one episode of him making this breakfast with Chef Lorius, and I have to tell you that was the funniest thing ever because he's kind of like me, like I kind of clean up as I go along. And like he was going along cleaning up and she was making the mess, and that's kind of like how me and my mom are. Like my mom uses every dish in the kitchen to make a pot of macaroni and cheese, but I like use 1, 2 or whatever, and then I immediately go over to the sink and start cleaning, and I kind of clean as I go to keep my workspace all neat and clean. But shout out to all the ones of you who like to keep your mess going until the end, because you know I know a lot more people that do that than actually clean up as they go along. So anyway, back to the subject at hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off. I'm just going to basically, and it does say, you know, to like shred the chicken, but I don't think I'm going to shred my chicken. I'm going to just cut it in pieces. Like maybe bite-sized pieces, not really diced, but you know, about, you know, yay big. It's because, you know, you really want to actually kind of taste your chicken in there. And the recipe that I saw, I tweaked it a little bit because I don't think that I would want like actual ranch dressing out of the refrigerator in mine. So that's why I came up with the idea to use the packet of ranch seasoning. And that's what I'm going to use for mine. And you're welcome to, if you find another recipe that calls for that, for you to go ahead and use that one. I'm just not going to. So I'm going to cut this chicken up. It calls for 2 cups. I made 3 of these thin breasts that I got. And so, I don't know, it might be a little more than 2 cups. We'll find out in just a sec. So, chicken's all cut up. I'm gonna grab my measuring cup here and see if I can. This is a 2-cup measuring cup. So I'm gonna fill it up and hopefully use like all this chicken. It is nice and juicy. So the chicken, I did not overcook it. So it looks like this is actually perfect. If you use 3 thin slice, and I think that if you are a family that likes dark meat chicken, which most everybody here does but me. So if you are, you can use, you don't have to use specifically chicken breast. You can probably use any kind of chicken because it's just chicken bacon ranch pasta. So it doesn't say like white meat chicken ranch pasta. So you can use whatever you want. So anyway, 3 thin sliced chicken breasts, made 1 whole cup here. And so I'm going to dump that in. The next step is it calls for 6 slices of cooked bacon. And like I said, I have one of these fully cooked thick bacon. And I'm probably going to, I think there's probably 8 pieces in here. And since it is already cooked, I'm going to just cut it up and throw it in as is. I'm not going to heat it up like according to the microwave instructions. So yeah, there's 8 slices. It calls for 6, but I mean, seriously, can you ever have too much bacon? All right, so I'm going to just chop the bacon. And I don't know if you guys have noticed that my chopping skills are not the greatest. So I just, you know, stay focused so I don't get cut. I'm a little bit clumsy. So there's the bacon chopped up in pieces, and I didn't have to do anything but chop it. I have the chicken and the bacon there in the pan, and my pasta is almost finished, so I'm gonna pour it in the strainer and get the water out, and it's gonna be the next thing I add to the pan. The reason that it's like the penne pasta does well with this is because it's like these little tube pastas. So like the cheese and the ranch seasoning and everything's gonna like go through the little tube, so when you bite into them you get some flavor from that as well. So these are probably the best choice, but if you have like, you know, shells or elbows or whatever, bow ties, and I like the ABC pastas because of the kids, so any kind of pasta that you have would work. You don't really have to run out and especially buy some penne for this recipe. Pasta is all finished and cooked. I'm just going to strain it and drain all the water out. Drain the water, but don't rinse the pasta. So I'm going to stick this in here for just a minute. Let some of the excess water run out of the little, as I called them earlier, the little tubes. So I'm going to let some of the water drain out. It's piping hot. My oven's preheated. Once I get all this thrown together, literally all I have to do is throw it in the oven. So prep time, I would say maybe like what I say, 8 minutes on the chicken breast and maybe about 8 minutes on the pasta. Mixing everything up, we're talking about 20 minutes prep time, maybe 25, 30 minutes in the oven, and we're gonna have some garlic toast with ours. So make you some garlic toast, the whole deal. Within an hour, you have this great, fantastic dinner that doesn't cost a whole lot of money, and it should taste really, really good. Done, piping hot, cooked. I'm gonna pour it in this corner over here and let it kind of flow down and get my pot out of the way. Now this is all really hot. You saw I had the bacon and the chicken here. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open my ranch seasoning pack. So this usually makes 2 cups of whatever you use it for, whether it be salad dressing or like chip dip or whatever. It makes about 2 cups. So I'm gonna put a cup or 16 ounces of Alfredo sauce, possibly a second jar, because we do not want our pasta to be dry and our chicken to dry out and all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to start off by just using half of the packet, maybe a little more than half, because we do want to taste the ranch. I mean, you can't really have, well, I use the whole thing. So anyway, we're going to use the whole pack here of our ranch seasoning pack. This is also great value. These are like 50 cents. So I know that if you do like the Hidden Valley Ranch ones, they're pretty good too. You can feel free to use whatever brands of any of this stuff that you want to do, but to keep it really cheap and affordable, you can use the great value stuff and it tastes just as well. Now, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to shake my sauce up here, and I'm just going to start pouring it all around the pan, on top of everything. Yeah, I'm for sure using 2 jars. There is no possible way. So I got most of it out, put my lid on, flip it upside down, and then shake my second one, do the same thing. I'm gonna just go ahead and dump the whole thing in. Since we use the whole pack of the ranch seasoning, it shouldn't be that big of a deal that we use 2 jars instead of 1, but that's a lot of pasta. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want mine to be dry. So I'm going to just stir all this together, mixing the chicken and the ranch and now the bacon. And I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm sorry, I don't have the ability to zoom at this point. I don't really know how. I'm not real technical. I'm just like a regular old person that knows nothing about technology really, except what my kids help me with. So anyway, I don't really know how to zoom, but once I get this mixed up, I'll show you what it looks like. It looks and smells really, really good at this point, but we want to continue to stir to make sure we get the bacon, the chicken, and the seasoning all, and we want all of our noodles saturated with sauce. So, oh man, it really does smell good. I wish you guys could smell it. I hope my friend likes it. She's coming over. We're having my friend Kelly come over and eat tonight. Trying to get her out of the house a little bit. She's kind of a homebody, and we're like trying to get her out and come be a little bit social like the rest of us. So we're having her over. So now this is mixed up pretty well. It's mixed up fairly well. And now the only thing we have left to do is add the cheese. All right, my friends, so now is this moment. This is actually a whole pound of cheese, and I'm gonna use a lot of this. I'm gonna pour about half in and incorporate it inside the pot with the pasta, the chicken bacon and the ranch and the noodles. I'm gonna mix the cheese all up in here, and I'm using like half the bag because of course, you know me, you can never have too much cheese. So my plan is to get this mixed up, and then I'm gonna pour the rest of the bag of the cheese on top before I pop it in the oven. So this is gonna be really nice, creamy and cheesy. And so I'm just gonna kind of even it out. I'm not gonna flatten it necessarily because that seems a little bit unnatural for something that looks like this. It looks so beautiful. So there's that. And the rest of the cheese, I'm gonna pour it and then just kind of spread a little bit, and voila. Now you see it. Okay, casserole in my oven. I'm gonna set my timer for about 25 minutes, check back on it, but I think I'm gonna probably end up saying it's gonna be 30 minutes. You just kind of have to trial and error with your oven time. So 350 oven, and we will check back on this. I'm going to do like I always do and slide the pan underneath in case we have a spill. So I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to put 25 minutes and start the timer, and I will be back with you in 25 minutes. All right, my friends, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. I'm going to go ahead and get my pasta out of the oven here. It has, my timer went off, it's been 25 minutes, and I think that 25 minutes is clearly enough time for the pasta bake. So, chicken bacon ranch pasta, I'm gonna set this on top of the stove, and I'm gonna let it sit for about 5 to 7 minutes before I try to taste it so I don't burn my mouth. The pasta's been sitting here now for about 5 to 7 minutes. While it was in there, I went ahead and made me some garlic toast, so I'm super excited to try this. So I'm gonna scoop some out. Oh, look at it, it's so cheesy, yum. Make sure I get a little bit of the bacon. Oh, look at that, stringy, cheesy, the bacon, the chicken. This is gonna be spectacular. So I'm super excited to be eating this chicken bacon ranch pasta. I guess you could call it a casserole. It has cheese, it has everything in it. Like I was saying earlier, you can call it whatever you want to. So I got some pasta here, got some chicken, some bacon, some cheese, and it's not super duper hot. Look at that, cheese stringing up. Isn't that fantastic? Oh my gosh, I love cheese. So anyway, here's my chicken bacon ranch pasta. So, super glad that I used the entire packet of the ranch seasoning. so that you could get the full effect of the ranch, because otherwise I have a feeling this would taste more like just like fettuccine alfredo with chicken, but the ranch like makes it completely pop, and it's really super good. And of course, I'm sure all of you know how garlic bread tastes. So enjoy your chicken bacon ranch with some garlic toast or garlic knots or garlic breadsticks or whatever it is that you like to go with your casseroles. And I really appreciate all of your support. Thank you again to all of my new subscribers, and I'm super excited to continue this journey. So thanks for watching Jackie's Kitchen. Stay tuned next week for whatever we may do then. Like, share, subscribe, and always, as always, everybody have a very fantastic rest of your day. Bye. Really, really good.